A big thank you to all of my patrons for sponsoring this episode, and whether you're a patron or not, why don't you join us in our Discord? It's in the comment section. No, it's not. It's in the description box. Yes. Good job, Rob. Hello Game Makers, this is GameMaker Rob, and today we are going to be covering the use of .csv files to store stats for any of the arrays in your game. You can use it for the monsters, players, items, pretty much anything you can think of that you're going to want to play around with the numbers. You can store it in a .csv and just load it into your game. So we're going to be converting the monster stats global array into a CSV file and importing it from that file into the game. So let's get started. Okay, so this is what the array is going to look like after we have done everything. You'll notice that we are still manually entering the sprite for the monster. This is because the CSV is going to be storing strings or numbers, or numbers as strings, sorry. And as far as I know, GameMaker will store the sprite indexes as numbers based on their order. So this is going to be the first one. This is going to be the last one. And if we add or remove sprites from anywhere, then it can affect the index of the other sprites. So that's why we're doing this. We don't need to do that for the sound because we are using an enumerator here to an array to decide what sound to use. If we also made an array for the sprites, then we can use enumerators for that as well. We're still going to end up with an array for it though, so I don't know whether it's worth your time to change it. I'm not going to change it personally because I don't want to change anything in the game, just to make this fairly straightforward and simple. Ignore this for now. I'm going to be covering that as we go. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make an Excel sheet, and all the enumerators from monster stats is going to go here for now. So it's everything from this list, and then we're just going to fill in the data that we have. And you can see straight away one of the benefits of using CSV files is you can compare everything quite easily, and it makes it easier to modify. I'll show you how to do that after we import the .csv. So right now we have an Excel sheet. Make sure you save it so you've got this as a backup. Then we're going to go into Save As, and in this drop down we're going to change it to delimited .csv. Save it, and you should end up with a second file. Close the current one you've got. I'm going to show you how you can check that this is a CSV file because it's in Properties right there. If you right click, so if you double click to open it, then is it going to open? There we go. We don't want to have the enumerators in the first column anymore. So I'm just going to cut them and move them here and delete that. That's because this first column is supposed to be referencing the green slime, so it has to be there. You might be able to leave this at the end because there's no reason for us to be referencing the last part of the array, because the enumerators should just be linking to these three, or however many you get. So once you've done that, save the game, or save the Excel sheet even. Jesus. And then inside GameMaker, after you've closed the .csv, go to Windows, then Resources, where it says Included Files, right click, Insert, and then make sure you grab the correct one. Again, in the type it should say comma separated. Open that, and you'll see it's gone from grayed out to white. So now in the drop down, you can see you've got the file there. If you ever want to edit the stats, all you have to do is right click and then go to Open Externally. And then any changes you make here, you can then save it, and it'll be saved. That's it. That's all you need to do. if you're sharing the project via GitHub, anything like that, if you include a file, then anybody else working on it will also have the file, and they'll be able to edit it as well. Although it'll look a bit different to the one you have, because it'll have a load of commas between the data. Just something to bear in mind. So now we have included the file, we're going to use the function load CSV. This name has to match the name of your file exactly, and you also need to include the .csv extension. If any of this is wrong, then it's not going to get loaded properly, and the stats._csv is going to be undefined or uncreated, and that's going to give us a crash because we're trying to reference it here and here. So once you've done this, we've got a double for loop. So the y's are going to go from here, and the x's are going to go across. So all of this is going to be done, then this, then this, and you can see we've got a check here. So in a CSV file, everything is going to be stored as a string. Even the numbers are strings, and if you displayed the data with like a draw text, it still shows a number, but it would actually still be a string and not a number. So we have to use the real function to convert any numbers we want back into numbers rather than strings. We only have one string in our data, and that's the name. So if yy is greater than name, then store the data that's stored at xxyy as a real. Otherwise, just grab it as the string that it is. And that's pretty much it. That's all there is to it. If you have a big project, lots of items, monsters, anything like that, this is probably the better way to go. I'm not going to include this in the actual starter kit though, just because I'm trying to keep that as simple as possible. So I will catch you next time. Bye for now.